And then I will let Joe and Jamie go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hello, hello. So I am Joe Miller, First Optimal, and Jamie is with me as well. I'm actually based in Michigan, and Jamie is in Kentucky. And so, yeah, we're excited for the partnership. We uh, run a functional medicine clinic, and so we'll kind of talk a little bit about what we do. So we do a lot of different things from advanced testing, um, as well as if it's peptides or hormone support. So we have a medical team that is familiar with more like health optimization. We usually primarily specialize in more women's health. We probably have about 70-75% of our clientele is women, a lot in kind of that midlife, early perimenopause or menopausal states as well. So um, we're really excited to partner with the crew here, and we have different partnerships with kind of different clientele that we work with, and we've had a lot of success with it. Many of us come from kind of more of a health coaching kind of the myself. I went to school to be an exercise physiologist, so a lot of overlap with that. So having understanding of how our medical team can partner with like health coaches and people doing nutrition plans and more helping people with lifestyle optimization versus like sick care is more of what we specialize and function in, and really excited to have that. And so Jamie is part of our care team, so she's the main uh, rep, if you will, for the group, and her role is working with making sure the experience is great for anyone who comes through our process, and any questions are answered, and works as a liaison from the medical team to our clients as well as to our partners. So if we have a coach that has a client that is having some issues, or the client gives us approval to share their medical information with the coach, uh, we can help put together, give some insights maybe that the coach wouldn't have had, or the trainer or the person guiding them on their health journey maybe would not have had without that partnership. So we do a lot of things from gut health testing, food allergies and sensitivities, different environmental toxins or different things that could be causing issues, as well as a lot of advanced blood work and diagnostics that we can get into. They're going to be just much more kind of wide scope related to, as we're going through life changes or having different issues, or man, my plan's really dialed in and I'm doing everything and it's good, but technically I should be losing a pound to 1.5, whatever the case may be, or I should be changing a little faster. We can take a look at some things and do an intake with somebody, talk to the coach as well, and figure out what testing would be best to try to first figure out what maybe some issues are there that we can step in and help them with and go from there. So, Jamie, I don't know if you want to tell the group a little about what you do and all that good stuff.
Yes. So my name's Jamie. Nice to see everyone. Just want to give a little rundown about me, what I do. Of course, I would meet with you and go over your history, any symptoms you've been experiencing, and just kind of lead you in the right direction as far as what type of testing you may need, what type of goal we can put in place for you to reach there. I have a background in the medical field for approximately 20 years or so now, and I had my own hormonal issues years ago that I couldn't get the answers for. I keep saying, oh, everything's fine, everything's within normal range, but we may all know by now normal is definitely not optimal. So even though it says it's okay, doesn't mean it's okay for you. So that's where we come in to optimize everything, get your hormones in a great balance, because obviously if they're out of range, you can have fatigue, stress, more anxiety, all of those things, and a hard time losing weight. So that's where we come in. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, guys. I know there are under the scope that they do, if you guys could just briefly speak to that, maybe about like the testing offered, the GI mapping. I feel like hormone panels, GI mapping, GLP-1s are kind of where people might be interested or have a need. If you could just speak to those really quickly. And if
Yeah,
you guys
sure.
have questions about services offered or if you need something, go ahead and just drop it in the chat.
Yeah, so we put together like a custom page for Chelsea and the team there. So it has some different products. We do have other products we always could do, but that's kind of like the primary one. So as you were mentioning, we have three different um, like blood work panels. One's a baseline, one we call like hormone health. It kind of covers a little more wider scope, and then one's more of our comprehensive, which is really a deep dive. Traditionally, most people will do the hormone health panel unless they know they have, um, some other prior diagnosis, or if they're on therapy right now. Usually, that's where like our intake can come in. We can help, or if someone like purchased a panel and there's a different one that might be better for them, we're very flexible. We work with them. Even when someone is signing up with us, their initial payment, if you will, to reserve a spot to meet with our medical team is just a deposit. So it's very low risk. We understand, we're talking about a lot of complex things. We're working through some issues someone's having, and so we want, the commitment being the least barrier for people to try to get at least explore some help and make sure they feel comfortable with moving forward. Um, as far as like treatments and therapies go, I'm sorry, you mentioned gut health too. So we do a lot of gut health testing, and what's really unique about our approach is there's GLP-1 clinics out there, there's hormone replacement clinics. We have those tools in our toolbox, but the reason why we say more like functional medicine is we're trying to look at root cause and minimum effective dose. So, for example, if someone's doing a GLP-1, traditionally they're going to come with the manufacturer dosing schedule. So they're all pretty much one size fits all. And not that they're inherently bad per se, but we know that the poison is in the dose. So if you're going to have any adverse effects or issues, on the one hand, we try to we try to find the minimum effective dose for people. And the other part is also on your pocketbook too. So as we know, these GLP-1s can get really expensive when you start getting those higher doses. So a lot of what we focus on, again, is root cause and how to optimize your protocol. Because most like GLP-1 clinics, um, again, there's nothing wrong with them. They're not inherently bad or anything, but their job is to sell you more GLP-1s and get you on more of the medication. And I'm sure they have their heart's in the right place and they want to help you. The reason why we do a little different is by having like coaching partners. We know if we can work on nutrition and the exercise and activity part of things, of what fits into your unique lifestyle and your challenges you're facing, we can help make the treatment and the therapy that much more effective. And that's how we can kind of keep those doses down and look at some of the advanced testing, like even something as far as gut health testing, for example. I can speak specifically to my wife. My wife's 46. We have two kids, a lot of different medical issues over the years. She's unfortunately had, but one of the things we found out was she had some really extreme gut health issues. We just recently did her test, and so much so that we had to shift. Most physicians may not, they wouldn't have this type of training or knowledge. We had to shift the way she was taking her medication for her as she's kind of starting to go into menopause for some of her hormone replacement. We had to switch like a troche, different delivery mechanisms, because if she's taking a medication through the gut, it's going to give her a lot of gas, a lot of issues, and it's not going to really digest or be metabolized as well, because we know her liver wasn't metabolizing efficiently. She had a lot of gut health issues, a lot of inflammation. And so we're kind of working on the gut while using different delivery mechanisms to still give her some symptom relief. So that's just kind of one example. And another example I would just give you from a women's health standpoint, and this is and I have her permission, so she won't get mad at me for sharing this. If she was available, she's with our daughters right now, she would be on talking about it. But um, to give you guys an analogy too, so we met with this back when I first got in the industry, brilliant physician, um, noticed that blood work showed a low estrogen production. So, as you age, it starts to go down. Makes sense. And testosterone was extremely low, which testosterone is a very, very important hormone for women. It's often one of the first ones to start to drastically decline. And short along, started to treat her lower testosterone, and some of that will convert to estrogen to help bring up her estrogen levels. But she kept having low production, but estrogen dominant symptoms, meaning too much. And then a blood work, that doesn't make any sense. The math isn't mathing, right? So fast forward, we did what's called a Dutch test, which was hormone metabolites. That's one thing that I didn't talk about initially. So we can actually look at how your body methylates these hormones. How does it break them down and clear your system because her system wasn't clearing the hormones. So that's where, if you think of like a faucet, if you just have your sink gently running just very low, so it's producing very low amount of water, but the sink's clogged, eventually it's still going to overflow. Well, that's what happens with your hormones. So even though your production's low, you still could overflow and have a lot of those other effects like estrogen dominance. And that's what's going to confuse a lot of physicians that are just strictly in the HRT lane or just strictly in the, if I use a different analogy or example, like a GLP-1 lane, there's actually GLP-1 receptors in the gut that we want to make those more efficient. So with the GLP-1s or the gut, a lot of analogies I'll use is like think of like high def 4K, like you watch on TV now, and some of us are old enough to remember like the 80s and the, the nice staticky imaging and the really crappy reception we get on our TVs. Well, that's what's happening when you have a bunch of inflammation in the gut as far as the signaling. It's like the 80s TV versus well, we want 4K or we want the current high def kind of the clear digital picture, if you will, when we're talking about signaling. And that's where some of these protocols and lifestyle changes can actually help. And so we put all that into our treatment plans with our partners, um, included with obviously the medications and the therapies, but we're also putting a lot of good, no cost stuff that's around the house, stuff you can do every day into your protocol. And I'm sure your coach is already doing that, but we're kind of helping reinforce it from the medical side, from the therapy side. Like, hey, this will lower blood sugar by X if we do this habit at this time in conjunction with these therapies. So I know I said a lot there, but there's, 10 plus years of kind of navigating and stories I can pull from. But happy to, answer any questions or share. We have like a visual of our process and just kind of share a little bit more if need be. But as I mentioned, we're, happy to be here. We don't bite. You could just even set up a call to have a conversation with us. There's, we have care team members. They're not going to beat you over the head and, lock you into something that you don't want to do. It's just a conversation about your health and kind of what you maybe have going on and just to learn more about what we do and how we do it.
Yes, totally keep you involved in the whole process for sure and make sure you're comfortable with everything. There were a couple questions in the chat, Joe. Kim, you started GLP-1 today. Are there any benefits of this partnership for people who are on medication from outside providers? Yes. I mean, we have a lot of clients that are on GLP-1s or other treatments from their primary care providers that we also work with. And we work hand in hand alongside those to help you get the best benefits out of your GLP-1s or any treatments that you are doing.
Yeah, that's a really good question too, because our model is more like long-term relationship, long-term care. So we know if we are fixing someone's, hormones or walking alongside them, we know it's usually a longer journey. And so the reason I say that is if we think something will be covered by insurance, like in the one case, it sounds like it's prescribed by your primary care. If it's covered by insurance, we would defer you to at least try that. And if it's not, we can still help you. Obviously, we can't really step on their toes as far as how to dose it, but we can at least give you information on a conversation to have with your primary care. If it's financially more feasible or better for you to go through them, that's fine, but we can at least give you some information so you can have a informed conversation with them because many of them, the level of education and training they get is just from the manufacturer, which is a little more straightforward for majority. There may be some that, just went on their own to learn some additional things, but there's also other therapies that can work with that to make it that much more effective or lifestyle modifications. And then as far as I see another question here about detoxification. If we have the testing done, then yes, we help with that. So our kind of tagline is test, don't guess. So there's a lot of really great detox programs out there and protocols, but we want to make sure we're doing things in the right phases at the right time with the right approach. So I was talking about my wife earlier. She was going to go on something that was more of like her gut permeability to fix some of the gut lining. She was going to start with that. And then we found she actually had some pathogens and overgrowths that she had to do a kill phase, a more aggressive kill phase than what we were originally thinking we had to do once we had that test. So she would have spent a lot of money, a lot of time, and gotten some relief, but really not enough. Probably been frustrated, been like, oh, this isn't for me, when really it was just the wrong, we're using the wrong tool, right? If all you have is a hammer, everything's a nail, right? So it's just kind of like It's just finding out what are the right tools to implement at the right time and how we can help with that. And there's actually a lot of things that could just be in your household, from even fiber and hydration, things of that nature. We find certain the gut microbiome, certain parts aren't really being fed enough, so we can work that into treatment plans. So there's a lot of nuance there. So when you say detoxification, just kind of depends on like what you're trying to accomplish, and if there's something we can help with. But we know that some places too, that's from personal experience, it can get overwhelming because a lot of times, depending on the protocol, it can be really heavy. Uh, like a lot of products and not really a lot of clarity around phases. So we do our approach in phases, which is what most of the companies we work with too, for on our end, for like educational purposes, and just our practical experience is more breaking down like a detox protocol in phases to make sure we're doing it at the right time, the right things to help with that. I'm going to put in the chat too, just the link for the team. So on that, there's a booking link in there. And then you guys can talk to your partners, if or your excuse me, your health coaches, or the team, if there's something that you want to explore, or you could book a call through that page. It'll track it back to, so we know where it came from. And that's just for like a free health consult too, if you ever want to have a conversation. So there's no pressure to do that. Talk to your coach first when you're ready. But if you wanted to have that information, we have that as well.
The biggest thing that I think, like the difference between going through a program like this versus going to a PCP is just kind of in the approach. That's what I have kind of gathered. Like it's a little bit more root cause, and the approach for healing is not just one-sided. And I'm also of the opinion that most medical providers mean well, but they're really taught like one thing, and it's pharmaceuticals, and it's a very specific way to do things. And we're not anti that by any means, but usually there's a lot more going on that has to be addressed through lifestyle change. So that's why we're excited about this. If you're looking for like a comprehensive way to handle issues, we're excited. This is, I think, rare to find, honestly. They do exist, but they are harder to find more functional doctors.
Yes.
I
We
just
really
shot
take the
over.
time to get to know you and just talk to you. And then we can pick up on things that are like, that may play in to what's going on with you and all the symptoms that you're experiencing. So we build a relationship, and it's not just a hi, here's your vitals, labs, and you're done. Bye. We really dive in to see what's going on and talk to you on a regular basis and everything too.
Last thing, and then I know I don't want to take over the whole call, so I don't want to never get invited back by talking too much, because I can do that. But I'll show you guys like two, maybe one or two visuals really quick. So this is just one visual that I'll show. This is kind of our main product, if you will. So this is the total, our journey when someone joins us. Basically, they would meet with someone like Casey. Their coach is welcome to attend some of these, or send over notes. But we organize all their supporting documents, get them in a patient portal. It's all HIPAA compliant. So your PHI, which is basically like your private health information, is all secure. We have an app as well that you use if you're meeting with us, that you can use. From this appointment, we're determining, unless you already have blood work, we're looking at like what testing to do. Once you get your testing, again, that all those instructions go into your app. We find a place by you to either have your blood drawn. We send you detailed instructions, or we'll send you a kit to your house depending on what testing you're doing, and then you can do it at home. Once we get the results back, again, it's all posted in your portal. There's graphs and really easy ways to understand it, but we actually do another call at this time. And part of the partnership is, normally there's a cost to that, but just being in the partnership, there's no cost for the lab review. So even if you don't move forward, never spend a dime with us, but you just meet and you want us to go over your blood work with you, that's just part of the partnership. After the lab review, then they meet with the telehealth provider. Every step of the way, someone like Jamie's there with them to just manage the experience, answer questions. They get their treatment plan here. So it's just a nice breakdown PDF of a bunch of uh, health tips and recommendations, along with therapies that we're going to help them, and how it ties back to their goals and their symptoms and blood work. And then they get their treatment plan, and we check in again did you get everything? Do you have any other questions? Phone call, text away. We're also reaching out. And then after that, whatever we're treating, we want to do follow-up labs as well to make sure everything's on the up and up and moving forward for you. And then let me know if the screen follows me. Did it go to the next page? Okay.
Yep.
So I'll just show you. This is another a tool that we have that's internal and kind of unique to us. We do an optimal score. So we show you your clinical range as well as I'm sorry, clinical range as well as optimal range. So that way you can decide like, oh, so clinically, yeah, if I went to my doctor, I'm normal, but I'm not optimal. I want to be optimal. Great. I'm normal and I'm okay with that. That's fine too. So it's just used there to give you an educational tool so you know where you're at. What are some things maybe? Oh, I think I got a family history of heart disease. So I want to be more optimal in those levels. How could I be more optimal there? I have this or I have that. We can help with those things. So this is a nice report that everyone gets. And it's kind of easy to break down more what they do. We write it in a as non-medical as we can make it. We know there's varying degrees of experience and knowledge out there, so we try to make it straightforward so people can really just grasp the concepts of what they're doing. And then we also, this is an example of the treatment plan we send over. There's like free ebooks, free guides, educational stuff. I know you're getting a ton of stuff already from that program, but from the program you're in. But if there's a extra resource we can help you with, and then we're doing like lifestyle recommendations as well as like this is obviously a men's male example, but just different, examples of you'll get a description of the therapy, indication like why is this therapy? Should I be considering it? Um, and as I mentioned, there's also like overall just our app that we have everything in there as well. Everything gets uploaded in that, and you can log on through the web or through your app, which is really easy and convenient to use.
Awesome. I think there's a couple more questions in the chat. And I like that you mentioned that you don't have to be like sick or have a big problem to want to do your lab work. Like I know I plan after having the baby, just getting basic panels done and all of that through them just to like see where I'm at, make sure things are optimized and kind of do that every year. If you just care about kind of making sure your health is good and knowing what your numbers are, you can just want to do that too. And again, there's no pressure to have to buy anything if you don't need anything. So, like, booking a call with them is free if you have anything you want to discuss and see if they can help you with.
Yeah, so to answer a couple questions. The one about blood work, yes, and even Jamie could even throw her link in the chat too, which is directly to her schedule. If not, it's like a round robin at the other link, which our team's amazing. They'll still take care of you. But we do that a lot, where someone will bring their blood work in, we'll run it through our tool there, and then just have a conversation about their health, about what's going on with their blood work, and if there's markers missing. Some people, they'll go back to their primary care and get those markers pulled. Some find out later, it's actually depending on their coverage, it's actually either not covered or more costly than going through us. Frankly, we don't care where you get the blood work from. It's an educational tool for us. So we just want to make sure we have the right markers to treat people. So yeah, you can definitely do that. And then the question with insurance, that's what I was mentioning earlier. So the insurance model right now is set up, for like sick care or disease state, or if I break my leg, right, like I want my insurance, I want to be in the ER. What we do is more optimization, and so when you're doing things that are not medical necessity, essentially to stay alive, basically more proactive care, most of the time is not covered by insurance. And so that's where a lot of what we do is going to be more cash pay. So we're using compounding pharmacies as well as some different kind of methods to help find, as I was mentioning earlier, like that effective dose for people to help keep the cost more manageable for folks. But it is typically going to be more of like I said, health optimization, more of where most insurance is going to balk at a lot of the services and treatments we do. And right now, to answer the next question from Kim about Canada, right now our limitations are just to U.S. addresses only. So we can treat anywhere, we can treat anyone. We can only ship to U.S. addresses. So we're bound by the laws of the U.S. So if someone, had that as an option, we could treat them and however they use their therapy after that is up to them. But so yeah, so right now we just can't technically treat somebody outside of the US, a US address. But if someone was in Canada and they were coming to the US for a time period, they could get their therapies that way. Um, Going back, you got to check the country you're in and the laws with that. I can't really, I don't want to advise for that or breaking any kind of international law or anything. But so we do have people also that are transient where they travel a lot. They're in Europe a lot. They're everywhere and they have their scripts from us, which is usually a green light to do what they need to do. Um, as well as the last thing I'll mention, because I appreciate the comment there, Amanda, about the compounding pharmacy. So yeah, we primarily will look at 3 or 4 compounding pharmacies in the US that we use. So we actually went out and we have legit script certification. So LEGIT script. If you look that up, you can read about it, you can Google it. But that's like a third party vetting company that certifies medical companies to do things. And one of the things they do is they vet your pharmacies you use. So if a pharmacy gets like dinged by a DEA or an FDA audit, or they're not compliant with something, a lot of times, like even if we wanted to still use them, we can't because of that certification. So we did that for quality control. And what's nice about our team is our back end, like of a lot of our logistics, like if you go to individual operator office, right? Like they're a really good practitioner, they're a really good doc, they use one pharmacy. There's nothing wrong with that, but they're going to be limited to what that pharmacy has. So we have a full logistics team on the back end that if Lindsay needs a peptide from this pharmacy and a blend of another product from this one, and then a test from this place, like we do all that without even really realizing it, other than maybe you got 2 different packages on your door. So we do as much as we can, or we handle all the logistics on the back end, so we can actually get the blend or the right formulation for people, and we also can find the most effective delivery mechanism and system for that person, as well as different states have different regulations and there are certain compounds you can't ship across state lines, things like that. So we have kind of different ways where those pharmacies also have to be licensed in those states. So we have ways to pull from different pharmacies to make sure we're not restricted. One of the things we started the company from other clinics I've been a part of is I didn't want the customer to have a pain point or have to pay additional. So if you think about like all of our shipping's included. So you're like, oh, big deal. What is it, $5? Like, well, no. When it's medical, it's usually like 30 to $50 because it's cold shipped overnight. Pretty much almost everything is. And so if you're ordering from 3 different pharmacies, that can get pretty costly. Or the option is we give you a subpar therapy protocol that's not going to hurt you, but it's not the best. And so that's why we do that as well. And you're also not bound to just like you would have one medical provider that you're tied to in your case, but we have a whole medical team and our care team that meets regularly. So you're not bound to like one methodology or one way to solve something, where the docs collaborate, our care team collaborates. So there's really nothing that we haven't heard of, frankly, because a lot of us have been doing this for quite some time, that we can find a way, or, oh, I know Dr. So-and-so did it this way. We could have a conversation with the patient and say, hey, we want to try this and here's why, here's the rationale behind it and how it could help you.
Awesome. Any other questions or anything that you want to know?
Yeah, last thing, I'll give some shameless plugs for First Optimal. So if you guys want to check out the podcast, Chelsea's actually coming on pretty soon. So we'll have an episode there. We do rotate just different women's health specialists, even people that technically compete with us. We don't really, I mean, honestly, we don't care. We just want to get good information, good resources. Even if someone doesn't partner with us and they're with another clinic, we'll still have them on if we feel they have really good content. So there's a ton of episodes out there that are all free, and any of our socials. Mine's pretty easy. It's a really creative name. It's my name, Joe Miller, then 1 O. So um, I'm kind of like that. I'm really creative with those things. But if you follow us on social, we also give out a lot of free guides, ebooks, stuff you can read up on. You can ask questions in DMs. Like we have people tied to all of our accounts, always just ready at any, most times to respond quickly so we can get you answers. And like I said, just check us out, and at a minimum, feel free, use as much of the free stuff that we have. Like just use it like crazy. We're actually making a lot of it and repurposing it for our partners too, so they can have the same tools we have. Because we have quizzes. If you're like, well, I don't want to get my blood work, but I wonder if my symptoms mean I have a hormone imbalance. We have a quiz for that. That's used in the medical field. We make it look a little cleaner and flashier for social media, but that you can just take a free quiz online and get instant results right when you finish it. So you
No,
guys got New Year's stuff to talk about, though. I'll keep talking all day and put everyone to sleep. So I'll kick it back to you.
no, we really appreciate your time and for coming on and explaining it for everyone. I hope we explained it well before you guys came on of what it is. I know people had questions, so this was super helpful.
Yes, I see someone said they've already booked a call with me. So just so you guys know a little bit about that process, when you book through the link like that, we'll send you an email to register your account, and I'll send you a questionnaire to fill out, some health history questions, medications you're on, and things like that, just so we have some info on you and a place to get started. And then we will meet.
Awesome. Thank you.
Let's throw a few things in the chat, and obviously Chelsea and the team has all of our contact, but I'll just throw a few things in there too if you guys, if you need it, if you have any questions. But yeah, happy to help. Pleasure. Thanks so much for having us on.
Awesome. We appreciate it. Thanks for your guys' time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And I know all you guys know, but everything that we have done or created in Slay Squad, any partnership we've had, it's all been based on like your guys' feedback, like what you need, what we hear from you guys. So any feedback you ever have, any struggle you're ever having, like verbalize it to us because we are always like adding stuff to the program. That's kind of where we got excited about this partnership was just seeing a gap and seeing needs from our clients. So we're always open to suggestions of what you guys need to optimize your health because that's our ultimate goal is that you get the best possible results during our time together, but also really forever. So, okay, okay, we have one more question. Sorry, guys, if you guys can answer one more question, and then we'll move into
Yeah,
goals.
no, we're not with you, Troy. All good.
Okay. Someone has hormone issues but does not want to do hormone replacements. Are there any other options? I have family history of estrogen-fed breast cancer.
Yep. Yeah, there are, and actually, there are some different options, and then depending on everyone's unique state. So we have different patients that have different, either going through a cancer treatment or they are in remission. And one of them actually is a good friend of mine. She, uh, you know, recovered from breast cancer, and we worked with her oncologist to determine like what we can do. And based on the therapies they were doing for that, there were some other therapies we could do that would actually work well with that. So yeah, there are other options. We can have a conversation just in a like a health consult and just kind of explore that and see what it is. Um, depending on, like I said, depending on the person, their experience, as well as this one individual had to use like an estrogen blocker, which essentially was tying to the estrogen receptors like in the breast tissue so that it wouldn't convert there. And so we were able to use another hormone that was not estrogen that was able to get still some symptom relief. And we were able to stay away from things that would maybe be potentially be problematic. And there's also some preventative stuff too that we do in some of our testing, like um, if you look up any of the hormone metabolite testing, there's without boring everyone with too much of the nerdy stuff, but there's different phases in which our body metabolizes it. One is more likely to, well, it's not more likely, it does lead to more cancerous type
Yeah.
production, if you will, depending on what phase of your hormone cascade goes down. There's estrone, estradiol, estriol, and we talk about that more. So there's testing if someone's like really like, hey, I'm really cautious about this. I want to do some other more proactive testing. It's not to be clear, it's not a test to see if someone has cancer or something like that. That's not what we do, but it's more like a proactive thing to where they could look at the pathways and see if
Yes.
there's a way to at least reduce risk there. And there's
If
other
you're
literature out there.
favoring,
Sorry, go ahead,
if
Jamie.
you're favoring one pathway over the other, like a 4OH pathway, it can lead to more cellular DNA damage which can put you at greater risk of like breast cancers and things. So,
And a lot of times too, again, if someone, does not hurt our feelings, if they want more information, like you don't trust what we're saying, we are simply ones that read the literature and can send you exactly what we're reading and the citations and all that, so you can make your own informed decision as well if there's something that you're trying to decide on a decision to move forward or not. I'm not sure if you guys know too, like the black box warnings were just recently removed from a lot of the therapies that are out there. So a lot of that stuff's been cleaned up. We're really excited about, because having those conversations for the last 10 years was always fun. Now I can just point to, because we made some of our own articles that link to that, the FDA changing their rulings and why, how it is a lot safer, and actually can reduce a lot of risk, other health related illnesses. So yes, in the consultation we do go over testing that's available. That's the main thing we do, and we'll make sure to make sure you get any kind of special pricing through the partnership, as well as the team getting tagged for that for you coming through. So that's usually the best route, especially as the team gets more familiar with our testing, they'll be able to recommend it more. You guys will, but we do this stuff all day, every day, so we're happy to help.
I would say like they are probably a better resource for what testing you need than we are. This is what they do. So just book a call with Jamie. You can go over your specific issues, what you're trying to do, and they could better recommend what testing to start with than we probably could. That's how I would recommend going about it. That way you don't waste your time or money doing something where they're going to be like, well, actually, you should have done this test.
Great. We'll be,
Awesome.
we'll, I'll be quiet and hang in the chat for just a couple minutes in case any things pop up.
Awesome. So yeah, if there's any more questions, it sounds like he's gonna hang out if you want to put in the chat. I know we'll probably go a little longer than normal on this call, so we understand if you just wanted to learn about this and you don't want to stay for goal setting. But for those of you that want to do that for a few minutes with us, we just kind of wanted to do that with Coach Kayla to kind of get you guys in a good headspace heading into the new year.
Yes, let me pull up really quickly. Here we go. And like Chelsea said, we might go a little bit longer, which is okay. But if we don't get time to share at the end, I was thinking it'd be really neat. We could drop it in our community chat. Some of the answers to these, I thought throughout this week, maybe each day, like I'll ask about one of um, the questions that I share with you here, and you all can share in our community chat. So we can plan to do that. But let's chat about goal setting. I know many of you probably have goals ready to go. I know some of you shared them with me in your check-ins. I'm sure you shared with your other coaches. But let's chat about why we set goals in the first place. So, setting goals for 2026 is important because it gives you direction, gives you clarity, and it gives you intention instead of just letting the year happen to you. So if you are like, oh yeah, I want to lose 20 pounds, and that's your goal, but you don't have a set plan of that or why you want to, or who you want to, what you want to look like when you lose those 20 pounds, how you want to feel. If you don't have a timeline, like it's not going to happen, right? You need to be very, very specific and have clarity and direction with your goals. So having that, it turns your hopes into a plan. It gives you control in a busy life because we know that we're all so busy and we're just getting busier and busier. So it gives you that control. It keeps you consistent when your motivation wants to fade because it will. You're probably starting strong right now, but it will fade. It helps you measure growth. It aligns with the woman that you want to become, and it prevents you from starting over another year, which is the biggest one. So let's dive in. I know these were sent out ahead of time. Some of you may already have them filled out. That's great. If not, I'll give you a couple minutes right now to start answering these questions for starting our goals. So I'll go through them. If you have just pen and paper, you might want to spend more time on them after this because we're kind of short on time. So we'll probably go through them quickly. Um, so you might want to spend more time. I really want you to dive deep with these. I try to stay away from just like, I want to lose 20 pounds, like just the really short goals. Like we want to dive in to the core of like who you want to become, who do you want to be, how do you want to look, very, very specific, okay? Because the more specific, the more that you're going to hit it, the more that it's really going to hit home for you and you're going to hold true to it and really like push yourself to get there. So have a pen and paper ready, and we'll just spend a little bit of time going through these. And if we get time, we'll maybe share a little bit. And like I said, if not, we'll share in the chat throughout the week. Um, so, goal number one, what is your why? So, your why is your purpose for wanting to take care of your health in 2026. What is your why? Make this deep, make this powerful. This might be one that you will have to come back to because you might fill out a whole entire page. What is your why? Is it because, you know what, I need to become a better mom? Right now, I'm the mom that sits on the couch. I am the mom that cannot go and play with my kids on the playground. I need to do it for my kids. Or my why is to save my marriage right now. Like I am struggling in my marriage because of how I look, or I don't have, the energy to want to give time to my husband, whatever it might be. Like, what is your why? Maybe it's, I am going down a really not good path with my health right now. And I don't know how much longer I will be able to be here when it comes to my future. I don't know if I will get to play with my grandkids. What is your why for wanting to take care of your health this year? Question number two, and like I said, keep journaling that one. You may have to, if you want to screenshot this, or I can share it later, you may have to come back to it. But our next question, or our next goal setting is going to be, where do you want to be in 6 months? Okay. And I want this again to be deep, not just like I want to be 20 pounds lighter. Like, no, how do you want to look? Like when you get up in 6 months from now and you look in that mirror, what do you want to see? Like, tell me everything. Be like, man, I want to see, yes, inches dropped in my waist, or I want to see toned arms, or I want to see pure joy because I am happy, finally happy and feeling good in my skin. Um, I want to hear, what is your day to day going to look like? How does your life look completely indifferent in 6 months because you have chosen to take care of your health? Okay, maybe it's like I get up in the morning and I go for a 20-minute walk. Maybe that's something that you do not do right now, but you're like, you know what, I'm going to do that. Or I get up and I am journaling each morning. I'm not getting on my phone right away. I'm journaling, setting out, my intentions for the day, writing my gratitude journal. Like, what is your day to day going to look like? I go in the refrigerator, I grab my prep meal that I've prepped that I know is healthy and going to nurture my body to give me the energy I need throughout the day. Like, how will you look? How are you going to feel? What will you be doing on a daily basis? Again, very, very specific so that you know exactly what you want to be doing, who you want to be, how you want to feel. Like, you can close your eyes and envision it. That's what we want here. And then the next step will be is long term. Okay. So you get to that 6 month goal. Where do you want to be a year from now? Okay. So maybe 6 months, your goal is, you know what, I lost, that 20 pounds, which is great, but I know that I've got more to lose. So in a year, I want to be down another 20, 30 pounds. And this is how I'm going to look and feel by that time. Okay. Where you want to be in 1 year? Because we know 6 months, right? You can achieve so many goals in 6 months, but we know 1 year is even longer. It gives you that long term to get there. So again, your why, where do you want to be in 6 months? And then long term, what are your goals for long term? And remember these goals, like, yes, they can be all health related, but maybe you even have like financial goals or some goals that, as a family that you're working towards too. Please share those as well. Have everything listed out. And then lastly, your short-term goal. So what are you're going to be your weekly goals to get there, right? To be the person that you want to be and look and feel in 6 months and, in a year from now. What are some things that you're going to have to do every single week? And many of you that are in our program, like we give you those goals, right? But you might need to set some goals of your own. Or maybe you need to write down some distractions that are distracting you from those goals of like, okay, I know that if I come home and I sit on the couch that I will not get in my workout. So I need to switch up, when I choose to sit on the couch later in the evening and I will prioritize my workout, every evening or, however many days a week you're working out. Or every Sunday will be my meal prep. Like I have to meal prep or I'm not going to hit my goals. And you know what? This is going to be the set time that I meal prep and I'm going to shift things, in my schedule. It's a non-negotiable. What are some weekly goals that you need to do in order to hit your long-term goal, to hit your 6-month goal, to get you to that point? And this is like your game plan for each week, right? So every week when you're hitting these weekly goals, that's what's going to get you to your 6-month goal. When you're consistent with these, they're your goals, they're your habits, right? Getting there, and that will get you to your long-term goal. And that's what we're here to do, as your coaches, is to help hold you accountable, to help you set these goals each week, to help you break down barriers or distractions so that you can get there. So again, I know this was a lot. I know that we went through a lot. But one last thing too that Chelsea shared this in the chat, and this is really powerful too, and this is always something that we should be starting our year with, is what is your word for the year? So choose one word that you want to embody this year, whether it's thankful, growth, present, alignment, whatever it might be. I don't know if you're like me, I think Amanda shared, but I have like so many words. I'm like this. So you can go into Chat GPT and like put them all in and it'll narrow it down for you. I don't know. I feel like as women, we always like, or no, there's so many things in our brain. So have that. I love that she used Chat GPT and it can narrow in for one word. But find that one word as well and hang that up somewhere. Hang that up and then have your goals listed and make sure that you are looking through these ladies each and every day, that you're reminding yourself of, okay, here's that word that I want to embody this year. Okay, this is my why. This is why I'm doing this. This is my why. And again, make it deep. The deeper it is, the more powerful it's going to be, and it's going to hit you to your core every single day when you read that. Okay, then I want you to read those 6-month goals. Okay, this is my goal. 6 months, this is what I'm working for. When you get to that 6-month goal, then you go, okay, this is my long term. And you continue on to your long term. You go, okay, this is where I'm headed. I'm going to keep going. And you keep going to finish the year. Okay, and then you have those weekly goals that you are going to apply each and every week. And you're going to do, and some of them are going to be repetitive over and over, but you keep showing up and you keep doing that because you go back again to your why. This is why. This is why I want to do that. So really make this something, ladies, that like you refer back to. If you didn't get enough time to journal, please journal. Take some time throughout this week to just go in a room that's quiet and journal. This is very, very powerful. Um, and it's what's going to really hold you to hitting those goals.
And if you're willing to share, would love to read some of them. So if it's something you're okay sharing with us, drop them in the
Yeah.
chat or drop your word in the chat and we'll read through a few of them while we kind of wrap it up.
Yes. And if anyone wants this sent out, I can send it out in an email. We can have it sent out so you can look through it again. I know it's nice to like see it. And like I said, throughout the week, I'll drop in the community chat and just be like, hey, I'd love to hear some long-term goals, or I'd love to hear our whys for this week. And like Chelsea said, if you feel comfortable, great. If you're like, I just want to share with my coach, it's personal, totally fine too. But we're your community. Like we're all in this together, ladies. And the more that you can be vulnerable and share and open, the more we can help hold you accountable and encourage you and, lift you up throughout the days that, because they will come where you're struggling this year that are really hard. And we go, hey, go back to that why. Remember why you did this or you said this. Remember why you want to do this. So please, the more that you can share, like the more, again, vulnerable you will be with it. So yes, like Chelsea said, if there's anyone that wants to drop their words in the chat or a goal that you have, I'd love to read some before we have to hop off. Oh, restorative. I love that, Kim. Oh,
Kristen's word is slay. So big fan over here.
yes, girl, slay.
I love it.
Empowered. I love that, Marie. And Kim, I want to say, I know that you can do it. You can restore your health at any age, and I know that you can do it. And you're taking the right steps right now. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I can't pick a word like you, Kayla. I think I'm gonna have to kind of narrow it down.
I
There's
have to
a lot.
too. There's like too many. Intentional. I love that, Amanda.
Oh, we have some long goals in here. I love that. People know what they want.
Hmm. Love
Your
that.
goals, Amanda. That's awesome.
Yes. To encourage your family. That's huge because that's like setting them up, for a long and
Mhm.
healthy life. That's really cool.
And Heather said, I want to show women that you are never stuck in one place. And I love that too.
Oh,
Taking back
that's
your health in your
powerful.
40s is amazing.
Mm, that is really powerful, Heather. I like want to write that down. That's really good. You don't have to stay stuck. I want to age well.
Not
Yes,
just
good.
exist. I love that.
hmm Yes, yes, that's so good. I'm getting chills. These are so powerful. Hmm. No fear of getting older. That too. Wow, these are so powerful, ladies. These are awesome.
I
A
like the
body
word
that's,
elevate. That's good too.
yes. I also like what you said, Jen, with a body that supports the life I want to live. That's huge. That's another like writing your why. What's a life that you want to live? What does that look like? Your body has to be able to support it. Longevity. Yes, Laura. hmm Let's see what we can do. I like that phrase, Julie. Yes, the 40s are going to be the best years yet. You got it. When you're in the sleigh squad, they will be. Oh, wow, 82. Hmm, that's amazing. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing. Perseverance pays off. Yes, it does, Kim. And to never give up on yourself. Yes, absolutely. And your word is can. Yes, because you can. And you are, Kim. hmm Yes, keep it going because you can. I love that. Wait until your 50s. Yes. I love it. Alex is relentless. I refuse to be average.
Yeah. And that's what we've been kind of talking about in the Slay Squad, among us coaches, and what we want to kind of push forward in
Mhm.
our branding and with you girls a little bit more is not just like, okay, let's be averagely healthy, but like, no, we want to be a team that really, yes, we strive to be above average. We strive to be like our best selves because that's what gives you the best possible life. And the average American doesn't have a life I want. I don't think it has health or a life most of you guys want. So aiming for
Mhm.
okay or average is not the goal. It's much better than average.
Yes.
It is easy to get overwhelmed, Amanda. Just little goals at a time. Although we're aiming high, it's
Yes.
okay to like, inch your way there. You have to know where you're starting.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, ladies, so much. You gave up a whole hour of your evening. I know you're all so busy. So thank you so very much. Keep journaling if you didn't get enough time, which I'm sure most of you didn't. Please take time to journal. And like I said, throughout this week, I will check in with you ladies in the chat and we'll share in there as well. And share with your coaches too if there's anything we would love to hear. So
I
thank you
love this.
all so
Just
much.
want to say I
Oh,
love this. Super awesome. And I look forward to talking with some of you ladies.
oh, thank you, Jamie, for hopping on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, thanks for your time, Jamie, and thanks for all your time, ladies, on our first call of the year. I hope you're pumped to
Yay.
make this an amazing year.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, everybody.